Hi, happy St. Patrick's Day. It is a new week. We're starting off with a fun holiday, which is cool. My buddy James Taylor is here. He hangs out. He's one of my favorite thrift store finds. And so sometimes I like to let him be on camera with me and be my buddy, my co-speaker or whatever. So this week I wanted to talk about a different perspective and how you can shift perspectives to make hard things feel easier. So I'm gonna tell you a little story about what I was challenged with this past week. I'm still in it this week, working on it. And I was asked to give a presentation at work, and it was a project I've been working on, so I was very familiar with it. But the audience was different than what I usually have to do. It was like with some engineers and some product managers and people that speak a different language than me, basically, as far as like they speak in a different tech language, and I might be talking about content and creativity. So we just kind of have different, like our brains work differently, right? And so it's a different audience. And I have a story I want to tell, but then there's also these kind of parameters that I have to fit the story into to be able to communicate it to this audience. Also, it could be like my manager said, I want you to talk about these three things. This is where I want you to focus. And so now I have to take my creative story and fit it with these three things. And I struggle with that. I'll admit it. Like, it can be hard sometimes because I have this thing I worked on and I want to tell my story, but you want me to tell it this way and to these people. And so all of a sudden I have these like parameters in this box and I feel a little boxed in. And so it kind of feels crunchy and not so great. So I was trying to figure out, how can I like not feel this way? I mean, I'm just making a presentation, like relax, have a good time. It's like, 30 minutes of your life. Like, don't sweat it so hard. But I get like anxious about it. So I was hanging out with my friend Amy. I'm so lucky. I live in a small town. So I have a small circle of people, but they are amazing. And they do such cool things that just completely inspire me. So she's a stained glass artist and she does a ton of commissioned work. And we were talking about like a recent project she had. She was telling me all the things that client wanted. And it was like, I mean, this wasn't it, but it could be like, I want a dog and a 4-leaf clover and then a sunflower because that represents my mom. And then, there's like, she gets these laundry lists of technical requirements that her client wants to be represented in this beautiful piece of art that she's creating. And so I was listening to her tell me about like a recent one. And I was like, wow, that's like an interesting challenge. How do you do that? And she was kind of figuring it out. And I thought, that is exactly like my presentation. It's, I have my art, my story, my thing I want to tell, whatever it is, but I have to fit it with these parameters that my client has given me. And so it just really helped me turn the whole thing on its head. And I was like, I am an artist commissioned to do this special piece of art. And I started to look at it that way. And I thought, wow, what if we really all looked at like our life, like we're all artists and things come our way that, are requirements or things we need to do in a certain specific way to make the people around us happy and make us, have a good time while we're doing it. So could we look at life as being a commissioned piece of art? And it's just our artwork we're creating with a few rules. But that's the fun challenge, right? Is try to get your soul and your spirit and your vibe and your creativity in with these kind of little things you need to check off. It gives you something to work with. So, for another example, besides just this like presentation or making stained glass, because those are kind of things you may not be doing. Another one I was thinking about is just cooking dinner for like your friends and family. They may show up with, I'm gluten-free, or I don't like cheese, or, all these requirements and things they don't like that maybe you love. Like you're like, oh, if I was going to make the perfect meal, it would be like this. But these guests are coming, like these clients are coming, so I have to make these adjustments, but I can still have a good time and make this beautiful piece of art, this beautiful artful meal that makes me happy creating it and makes them happy to enjoy it and eat it. So think about that as you go through your week. Like, how can you embody being an artist creating a beautiful commissioned piece of art this week, whatever that is for you? And so hopefully it'll inspire you and you can make everything beautiful no matter what parameters and what boxes and how you feel. Just use those as interesting input into your creativity. And have a beautiful week and a happy St. Patrick's Day.